One of market reaction is in the books now to the reality of steep U.S. tariffs on some of its key trading partners, including Canada. What's your take on how markets reacted?
Well, Paul, great to be on the show on this day. It's a momentous day in the sense that you consider a lot of the uncertainty of the effects of tariffs this broad and this deep, and the retaliation process all to be considered. Very much a day, much like you'd expect it. Actually, you'd expect it would have been a red day in terms of most sectors moving downward. So in that sense, it's fasten seatbelts, but don't panic.
And what is your outlook on stocks and the equity markets reaction to the tariff news and perhaps the emergence of a trade war between Canada and the U.S., Canada and Mexico, Canada and China, the U.S. and China, U.S. and other major markets?
I'd say, Paul, it really requires a consideration of what is the degree of interdependence of the countries that are involved, and thinking here, starting first in North America, the United States and Canada and Mexico are deeply enmeshed in each other's economies. So the effects of this, if this is aimed for a significant period, are naturally things that one must consider as impediments to growth to some extent, if not offset by other things like tax cuts or increased productivity via technology or what have you. But we must think here that this is a process of negotiation that needs to come to the fore, wherein cooler heads will prevail, because especially in North America, the U.S. and Canada, again, and Mexico, deeply enmeshed in each other's economies. This is something that needs to be worked out. Now, that said, related to Europe, I think there's another situation there, and of course, with China, I'd say with China it's a little bit different because it's not as friendly as a situation as it used to be. I think within the other countries, North America, Europe, and non-communist Asia, we would have to say that, I think the business people would like to get this fixed quicker, and I think eventually both labor and business will pressure politicians to recognize the importance of a vote, that there's a need to address this. I would say, and I'm not an apologist for any administration, whether it was the Biden administration or the Trump administration. As a professional strategist, I'm politically agnostic, okay? And what I would have to say is we recognize the fact that the rules of the order of trading and the process of it, there needs to be some more fairness involved in this. I think the post-World War II aspect from a U.S. perspective was give to the world more than you get back. And what you get back, you'll benefit by cheaper prices from countries that can either they have the ability to produce a particular product or good because of national expertise or cheaper labor or less regulation, what have you. That would be the reward for the U.S. Without consideration to what it would do for our ability to produce certain products that we discovered we needed as a result of COVID-19, whether it was medicines or various things that were hard to find because of the supply chain. And then when it comes to tariffs, the idea was the U.S. can sustain higher tariffs for its goods than other countries. And this beginning to really look to a world in which the U.S., like other countries, just needs a fairer place to trade in. And I think that's what's behind the administration's efforts here. We do hope other countries will give consideration to that fact. And we are not politicians or negotiating for the government. But from a position as business people, we can't help but think a fairer playing field for all is a better thing. And we think the way markets work, there's a better chance we'll see it sooner than later, because between the weight that business can place in terms of getting in the door to discuss things with governments, as well as the weight that labor as voters can. I think this can be worked out. I think cooler heads ultimately prevail here, but the effort is that this requires a lot of work from both sides or all sides. There's many sides here.